Hello and welcome, Golden Era here, and today I wanted to discuss the Cruiserweight Classic, which is taking place down in Orlando in Full Sail, which is the NXT arena, and will start filming tomorrow, June 23rd, 2016. Now, the event will begin to air in July, and it has already been said that the host will be Daniel Bryan and Mauro Ranallo. This will be a tournament, much like the Super J Cup, with 32 competitors. With that said, let's look at who's in this tournament. First off, we got Akira Tozawa. Now, I don't know much of this guy, but I do know that he's in Dragon Gate, and Dragon Gate is a great promotion. So having him be from Dragon Gate automatically gives me excitement to find out what he's about, find out how it works in the ring. So I'm definitely looking forward to see what this guy could do. Japanese talent from Dragon Gate, which means he probably has had some form of training from Ultimo Dragon, as many of you know from WCW. And next up is Alejandro Saez, who's a Chilean professional wrestler. According to his bio from WWE.com, he was trained by Adrian Neville and Super Crazy. Never heard of the guy. It says his style is Japanese style, so I guess he wrestles a strong style or a Dragon Gate style. Not really sure. Who's to say? Maybe he has a bright future ahead of him. But judging by the look and by who he's trained by, jobber. Anthony Bennett is jobber number two. It says here that he's from New Jersey, has a high flying style. Now again, I'm not saying that these guys are destined to be jobbers for the rest of their lives. I'm just saying when it comes to this tournament, you got to have somebody in the early rounds to take the pins. And I have to say that my Anthony Bennett is probably also one of the jobber. Says he comes from a school in New Jersey. Not much history there. Maybe he'll surprise. You never know with these kind of things. That's what makes these tournaments so exciting. And next up is Arya Davari, who actually did used to work for WWE for some time. So some of you may recognize him. That's right. Davari is back. They gave him a call. He will be in the tournament. Let's find out how far he goes, shall we? And next up is the Brian Kendrick. Many of you know him from his run in WWE, former tag team champion with Paul London. Had a good solo run as well. I think he may have won maybe the US Championship or Intercontinental. Not too sure. And he had a good run in ROH as Spanky. The guy's talented. Any match he's in is going to be good. So good on WWE for calling up the Brian Kendrick for this tournament. Proven professional wrestler. And next up is Cedric Alexander, who's done a lot of work for the American indie scene, most notably ROH. But I can't say I'm a big fan of the guy. And next up is Clement Petiot, who's French, and it says here he was trained by Lance Storm. I'll see what he brings to the table, but the only thing that interests me is that he was trained by Lance Storm. I was a big fan of Lance Storm back in the day. It also says he was trained by Joey Ryan. I'm not so big of a fan of Joey Ryan, and I've never heard of the guy. So, who's to say? this guy, this guy's name is the Mac. I shit you not. I'm not making this. His name is the Mac, and he's German, and he was trained by Cesaro. So trained by Cesaro is pretty cool, but the Mac, like seriously, that's the name you're going for. Screams jobber to me. I may be wrong, but it just screams the Mac with a D and an A. Duh. And next up is Damian Slater, who's from Australia. They're really praising him as being this innovative submission grappler guy. I don't know. Says his finisher is an inverted Michinoku driver. I've never heard of the guy. Now, see, when I looked up this person, Drew Gulak, automatically saw that he was trained by Chris Hero and Mike Quackenbush. Those are two good names to be trained by. And when I try to find his pictures or anything like that, you see here he has the CCW title. This is somebody who automatically, you can tell, is a somebody. You know what I mean? I'm interested to see how he works. I think I've only seen one video of his, and that was uploaded by WWE.com. And he looked interesting. He looked like he actually knows how to wrestle, like he knows some moves, like he does, like he looks realistic in the ring. You know what I mean? Obviously, he's CCW champion already, so he's proven. He's from Philadelphia. Here's one that hopefully gets far. So this guy's named Fabian Aichner. Not sure if I'm pronouncing that right. Also earlier it was Gulak, not Gulak. Well, yeah, Gulag. Anyway, this guy's supposedly been champion in Europe. I've never heard of him. He's Italian, so I guess if they want to get the Italian demographic, then perhaps they may use him. He is swole as all hell, and we know how WWE likes their swole guys. The last champion just got suspended for being on roids, so who knows? But yeah, never heard of the guy. Supposedly he's multiple champion in Europe. I don't watch too much Europe pro wrestling, so there you go. Gran Metalik, which is actually Máscara Dorada, a legend in his own right, has wrestled in Japan at their Wrestle Kingdoms even, and faced the likes of Jushin Thunder Liger, Kushida, Finn Balor, and Shinsuke Nakamura. Has primarily wrestled in CMLL and had a classic series of matches with Bodalor Jr. There isn't much I can say about Mascara Dorada. Definitely a legend in his own right, and a legend to the Mexican fans of the world. Definitely wrestles a high lucha libre style. So it's nice to see him performing here on American soil. I hope he gets really far. He deserves to get really far. If you want to see his moveset, I do have his character in WWE 2K14 and Fire Pro Professional Wrestling, so you can check him out in video game form if you search for Mascara Dorada on this channel. I believe Grand Metalik will get far. Sira, who I'm not sure if I'm pronouncing that correctly, is a Canadian-born wrestler who has had experience with a promotion called Ring Ka King, which is out in India, and has also worked for Global Force Wrestling, which is Jeff Jarrett's promotion. I'd never heard of him. Harv Sira is the brother of Gurv Sira, so I imagine they have a similar history, both born in Canada, etc., etc. So with that background of being Canadian, you expect them to be pretty good professional wrestlers. They are a tag team named the Bollywood Boys, so let's find out if they impress. Ho Ho Loon is a talent from Hong Kong. He is the founder of Hong Kong Pro Wrestling Federation. Judging by the shirt, he's cool, so let's see if he impresses. Jack Gallagher is a professional wrestler from Britain who has done work for the Japanese company 01. Expect a very British style, so expect heavy on the submissions. Jason Lee is another worker out of Hong Kong, China, who I know nothing about, but his biography seems to state that he has good strikes. Johnny Wrestling, or Johnny Gargano, as many of you may know him, does compete in NXT. He is signed to NXT. He also competes in various indies around the United States. Very talented professional wrestler, and I wouldn't be surprised if he makes it somewhat far. Kenneth Johnson is also in this tournament, and I have no idea who that is. A quick Google search came up with the professional wrestler from the 80s. Actually, he was a valet who was named Slick. I'm not sure if y'all remember that. You have to watch some of the early WrestleManias to see that. But yeah, no history here. I don't know who this guy is. Kota Ibushi has to be the odds-on favorite to win this thing. He already has a 5-star with Shinsuke Nakamura under his belt at Wrestle Kingdom 9, which means he wrestled in front of about 50,000 plus. He has near classics against AJ Styles under his belt. Near classic in a tag team match where he teamed up with Naomichi Marufuji against Kenta, which is Hideo Itami, and Taiji Ishimori. I myself have seen Kota Ibushi wrestle live when he faced El Generico here in Chicago, who is Sami Zayn, for those of you not in the know. Kota Ibushi's nickname is the Golden Star, and he already is a star. He's been IWGP Junior Heavyweight Champion 3 times, odds-on favorite to win, and it's obvious why. Lince Dorado is another one who has had training by Cesaro, Mike Quackenbush, and Chris Hero. He's a mainstay in Chikara, as is noticed by the tattoo that he has in his shoulder. I'm interested to see what he brings to the table. Noam Dar is a talent that is pretty over in Britain, having a lot of fights out there in the UK scene. I believe he was born in Israel, but now currently resides in Scotland. You may remember him from TNA, and there's a lot of talk about this guy being really good, so I look forward to seeing his work in the ring. This next guy's name Raul Mendoza. I've never seen him or even heard of him, but he has a pretty impressive resume. He wrestled for AAA down in Mexico. Was part of Los Perros del Mal. Rest in peace, Paraguayo Jr. And he wrestled in Pro Wrestling Noah, which means he probably has some stiff strikes, and he can probably take some really stiff strikes as well, some really hard shots, some really snug shots, as Stone Cold says. Current NXT superstar Rich Swann will also be participating. Born in Baltimore, has a very United States indie background. From what I've seen of him, he has already impressed. I'm sure he'll do great at the tournament. The first thing that stood out to me when I was reading Sean Malata's bio is that he's booked as being from Shaolin, New York. So that means he's a fan of the Wu-Tang. That's automatic cool points right there. Then he's the nephew of Afa, which is a WWE Hall of Famer. So we got another Samoan bloodline wrestler here. It says he has heavy strikes, saying that he is from Shaolin and referencing the Wu-Tang. And plus having that Mortal Kombat tattoo on his arm means he's probably going to do a lot of sick looking karate stuff. TJ Perkins is a former X Division champion, so many of you would know him from TNA. What is there to say about Tajiri? I mean, look at the guy. He's awesome. Gimmick was a little racist, but Tajiri made it work because he's that damn good in the ring. He was funny when he needed to be. He was awesome and a badass when he needed to be. The guy can work, and it's going to be a pleasure to see him in the WWE ring again. Tommaso Ciampa currently works for NXT. Very hard hitting. He's done work for PWG, ROH, TNA, pretty much any indie you can think of in the US. Seeing as how he is contracted with NXT, I don't expect him to job. I mean, you never know, but I don't expect it. This is Anthony Nese. Now, the WWE.com profile has him as the favorite to win. I personally have never been a fan of his. I don't know who he is. I guess I'll find out. The WWE profile has him as a favorite, so who knows? Maybe he steals the show. So this is Mustafa Ali from Bolingbrook, Illinois. Illinois is my home state, so he better not job. Tyson Dukes is a Canadian professional wrestler whose nickname is The Textbook. Now, when they nickname you Textbook, that must mean that you are very natural in the ring. He is from Canada, so that's another plus. Canadian pro wrestlers are usually really damn good. So I'm interested to see who this guy is and what he's all about in the ring. Yeah, he sounds like a hell of a competitor. And finally, the last combatant in this tournament is Zack Sabre Jr., who was the early favorite. When the first name started coming out, Zack Sabre Jr. was one of the first ones, and he was the early odds-on favorite to win the whole thing. Now it's a little more difficult to decide who's going to win. If you're a fan and you are thinking about who you think will win, it's very difficult to pick somebody. The top three right now in my mind would be Zack Sabre Jr., Gran Metalik, aka Mascara Dorada, and Kota Ibushi, with Kota Ibushi actually being first place. Well, I don't know. It's a toss-up. The only thing I could say for sure is that Kota Ibushi is first place in my personal list for who would win this global tournament. If you're a wrestling fan right now, this is a fucking dream. It is a legit dream. 32 of the best cruisers in the world are gathering in America for this tournament. And then while this tournament is actually happening, Japan is going to do their Super J Cup, which is the same idea, but for them it's going to be 16 of the best cruiserweights in the tournament, and it's really going to be them competing to see who has the better tournament. This is a dream. As somebody who grew up wishing he could have watched Super J Cup 94, this is an absolute dream. I'm going to mark out the entire time the tapings start tomorrow. I am going to do everything I can to avoid spoilers. If you're a fan of pro wrestling, then I hope you share in my enthusiasm, because what a time to be alive. What a time to be a wrestling fan. I couldn't ask for more. This is awesome. I cannot wait to watch it. And I hope you all enjoyed this little review or whatever the hell this is. Thank you. Like, comment, subscribe, all that good stuff. Peace.